Hello, Tom Levecki here with the latest edition of the New Theory Podcast. Today's a special one. We have from Trenton, New Jersey, fantastic cinematographer, filmmaker, director, and many other things, Jeff Stewart from Trenton, New Jersey. Welcome to the New Theory Podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting. We're gonna have some fun.
So our guy Julian, who is behind the scenes, he's the videographer filming right now, is nervous because he knows he has an expert in the house. And Jeff just texted me that Julian has all the wrong lenses and all the wrong lighting. Just kidding, Julian. But with that being said, Jeff, happy to have you on. You just released St. Michael of the City. We had Adam Ratcliffe on recently. So I felt it was super important to have you on as well, not just because you're from New Jersey, but you also just produce a phenomenal film. But let's start from the beginning. Give us kind of like your kind of background, your formative years, and what makes you you.
Oh man! All right. So let me give you the elevator pitch on what and who I am. I've been making movies my whole entire life.
Okay.
You know, if you look at my official bio, it says I got my first camera when I was 2 from my father.
Wow.
And that's a little bit of a lie. I was like 2.5. But, you know, I've been using the camera to tell stories ever since then. Either it's just, you know, taking my little Star Wars or G.I. Joe figures and animating them and stuff like that. Or in high school, I would write these ridiculous screenplays, and I would just get my friends to like, all right, you're a flying ninja assassin robot guy.
Love it.
We'll do this, yeah. So yeah, and then from that I went to NYU after high school, which is a fantastic film school, which I dropped out of.
Okay.
And then after that, I went to Temple University,
Okay.
which also has a very excellent film program, which I dropped out of.
Interesting.
I am a 2 film school dropout, and what I tell all the students and everything like that I, sometimes mentor or do master classes for, film school is great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. All right, but doing the work is better, right? And it's sort of like you can go to school to be a plumber.
Yeah.
But unless you're actually doing the work, you don't know
So
what you don't know.
So basically, you go to schools and tell them they're wasting $50K on tuition. Just kidding.
Look, I mean, it's a networking opportunity. You know, like that's what it is at this point. Yeah.
No, I'm just having fun with you. Yeah. All joking aside, what is it? Madam Gladwell says you need 10,000 hours to become a pro at something or become excellent at it. And it's obviously that's more important to have that didactic hands-on versus just the scholastic. All right. So you went to 2 different film schools, and then, after Temple, what was your move?
After Temple, I had to get a job.
Okay.
Right. Because what they don't tell you in not just film school or other universities, other programs, is finding work and eating is making money is hard. So I got a muggle job. I got a real job working for a university that I will not name right now, and I worked there for several years.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I would do my filmmaking on the side.
Okay.
The thing is, the work I was doing on the side was actually doing very successful stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. So back in the day, before Amazon Prime became Amazon Prime, because Amazon Video, they had a pilot program called Amazon Studios.
Yeah,
right?
remember that.
Right. So it was a sort of user-generated.
Yeah.
What's it? Thing?
Amazon YouTube.
Right, Amazon YouTube, right? People could upload scripts and stuff like that, and so during that time, they ran a contest. They were like, "Hey, take one of the scripts that were on our website, make a pitch for it, and if we like your pitch, we'll give you X amount of dollars to make the actual movie." And so me and my buddy Chris, who is my producer partner, he found this script called The Velvet Elvis.
Interesting.
It was about a black Elvis impersonator who hunts demons, right? And so he was like, Jeff, this is totally 100% up your alley. I was like, yes, you are right. Let's do it. So we made a little pitch film. We got my buddy Kirk Ponton, who plays the preacher in St. Michael the City, to play Velvet Elvis. We got drunk one Sunday. We went out into the woods, and we made a little pitch film, right? We didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
Uploaded it to Amazon. A week later, they're like, hey, we love what you did with your pitch film.
Wow.
Here's $60K.
Sweet.
To make this movie, right?
Sweet.
And so we made the Velvet Elvis.
Did that make air? Is that
it was on Amazon, Video, that the service back then. And it did really good numbers.
Nice.
Yeah. And from there I rolled that into other things. Like I've worked with YouTube.
Yeah.
I've worked with like POW Studios, which was Stan Lee's imprint.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Commercials.
So this is where, for those watching, and we'll get to the St. Michael's in a second, and I also want to get into the business model because that's kind of changing a little bit too. But so how do you balance? So you're a true cinematographer, director, and there's a lot of shiny objects. Short form YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and there's all these different stuff that.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Maybe it might make sense to go down certain rabbit holes, but on the other end, if you kind of go down an avenue and don't come back, hurts your kind of trajectory as a director, because there's got to be right once, right? Or more than once theoretically. So how have you kind of navigated in this new media landscape, and give me where kind of a right move you made and maybe where you screwed up.
I think where I kind of screwed up, or not even screwed up, is that I am resistant to this new sort of storytelling landscape.
Okay.
All right. Because I made short films. I love short films.
Yeah.
That is different than a 30-second story.
Correct.
Or minute story.
Correct.
Or whatever like that. And you can tell a decent story within 60 seconds.
Yeah.
130 or whatever like that. But it's challenging and it's not as rewarding.
Yeah.
But that's where this new landscape is. It's like that short form, like short attention span sort of era we're in. And like, I appreciate the people who can do that. I just can't, right?
Yeah.
My mind isn't there.
Yeah.
And I think it's maybe because I'm just older.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think now, me trying to jump into that, I feel I'm behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Right?
And be almost disingenuous in a way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there are people who are really good at it and really enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
If I were to do something like that,
Yeah.
it would be purely to spread my brand or to like make money.
To make money.
Right?
Well, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I think that's something I learned, throughout my career. Don't do it for the money, right? Do it because you really enjoy doing it. That you love the work, you love the job, you love storytelling, right? And find how you like storytelling, like what's your medium, right? And so if I do something that causes me to chase the money, then it's not going to be as good as it could be because I'm not in it. Like my heart's not in it. I don't understand it, right?
You bring up a good point because our mutual friend Kevin Interdonato, who shout out to him, he played Cuz on St. Michael, and like him and I have a few other friends. One guy is a videographer, and sometimes guys around my age, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but I'll come to them and say, "Hey, I have a social media shoot. They have a budget," or hey, do you want to do some short form? Do you have, and Kevin, I love him, and my other friend Dave, they just say no to a lot of stuff because like that's just not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but no, but like this is like almost like putting a tank on an ant. You crush it and do really well. They're like, just it's not my wheelhouse. And I kind of get that now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know what, I can do it and I can make a bag, if you will, but I'm not going to love doing it. The product's not going to be great. I'm not going to be proud of it.
Right.
So I love the fact that guys like Kevin and yourself stay in your lane on what you like to do. What move do you think you did right that helped you out in your career?
I mean, there's been a lot of good moves, but like I think the fundamental one, I guess there's two fundamental ones. Not quitting, because it's easy to quit.
Correct.
Right? And I tell this to people all the time. People want to make movies until it's time to make a movie.
Correct.
Right? So it's easy to like get disheartened when you don't like win this contract or this contest, or you don't get hired for this, or people just don't like what you've made.
Yeah.
It's easy to be like, all right, well, I guess I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I quit. So that's, that's one of the fundamental things is just to do it. Just keep going. I'm too old to quit, right? Like I've put so much of my time, energy, and life into this. And you're always, whenever you quit, you were probably always like 10 seconds away from getting over that hump and becoming the success you want it to be.
Exactly.
Right? And the second, I guess, pillar or whatever like that is surround yourself with good people, right? Not only just people who believe in you and your talent, but people who are in it. Like they're not just here for the glitz and the glamour or whatever like that. They enjoy the work. They enjoy creating. Build yourself like a little film family, right? People that you can count on, that can support you, that you can support, and go forward together, right? And like I always tell everybody on my team, if I eat, you eat.
Yeah. Well, okay, what about, so tell us about St. Michael. You know, you get the script, or I believe you co-wrote it, right?
So
give us a.
It was written by Kevin Internato, right? And he showed it to me and stuff like that, and he asked me if I had notes or whatever like that, and I had notes, and he asked me if I wanted to direct it. I was like, hell yeah, I want to.
Nice.
Yeah, like it's an honor to direct something that you wrote, but let me put my flair on it, and I guess I did enough work on there to warrant a co-write.
Nice.
But like it was originally Kevin's script, and I just kind of signed my name to it.
How important was it for you to film this in Trenton?
I'm gonna say it was very, very important, but also practical, right? I would have shot this movie anywhere.
Yeah.
But Trenton allows a certain amount of freedom that you can't get other places, right? And because I've been living there for so many years, I tell people I'm making a movie, they want to help, right? They want to support. They they'll allow you to shoot in their bar during operating hours. Yeah. They'll like let you use their kitchen. They'll let you come into whatever environment and do what you need to do because they've seen what you've done and they believe in you. And that's sort of that Trenton spirit that no one really talks about. And the arts community is strong there. So that's so practically it was cheaper and easier for me to navigate there because
you had the
and I have the connection, stuff like that. But also, it's where I live. I've shot pretty much most of the films that I've ever done in that city, and I do it because I love the city. I love it has a lot of potential, but also because the art scene gets it. And for the most part, the city government gets it. They're not supportive, but they're not detrimental.
Yeah.
Right. So no cop is stopping me. Right. No one's asking me for a permit. Or clearance or anything like that. They're just like, all right, well, it's making a movie.
Love it. Now, obviously, as Adam as lead actor, Kevin as Cuz, kind of the second guy, you obviously have to act a certain way and portray the actors, but you're responsible for kind of the optic and the storytelling. And I was telling you earlier earlier before offline, was that when I first saw it, it did feel like an indie movie. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, a little too much, right? But then when I saw like the soft tones, the light blues, the darkness, and it kind of loomed, I'm like, that's not a bad lens. This guy's drawing me in. Because I was paying like a lot of attention to the cinematography and the kind of overall mood. And I felt the mood throughout the movie. It did draw me in. And it helped almost in a way amplify the characters. And it's kind of weird, almost like they're false in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Like Cuz was, and please watch the movie, St. Michael of the City. If you got to pause it, come back. But I'm not going to give anything away. But like I really wanted to like Cuz, and I did.
Right.
And he captured him the right way. Yeah. But then, he was naked with his flaws, and I felt like your cinematography kind of helped illustrate that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's and I don't want to toot my own horn, but like that's the difference between someone who is a content creator or someone who just like, I want to make a movie.
Correct.
And someone who knows what a movie is. And there's a certain language to the camera, like what you show, how the camera moves. And so that we were all very aware of that. Me and the DP, Jamal R. Green, who's a really close friend of mine. Like we had these conversations and everything like that. I wanted this to look like a movie because we've all seen low budget, or like we're going to change the dialogue. We're not going to call it low budget. We're going to call it smart budget, right? I've seen smart budget films that they spent the money dumb, right? And it looks amateurish, right? Just because, I have a gimbal. I'm going to use a gimbal, but you don't need to use the gimbal. Like, why are you like?
So for us non-movie guys, give us what's a gimbal? I don't even know.
Like a gimbal is a stabilizer for a camera, right? It allows you to move the camera and make it look like it's floating through space.
Got it.
Without muscle shake and stuff like that. Yes, it looks cool, but
you need it.
Do you need it?
Yeah.
And like, what does that add to your scene?
Yeah.
And so, we had those kind of ideas, kind of conversations. And the camera honestly doesn't move that much in the film, except for when there is like panic and tension and stuff like that. And you'll notice that, right? Like everything else is sort of like standard blocking.
Yeah.
The blocking that and the style of the movies I kind of grew up with, like Mean Streets or Thief or even like Little Odessa, like the camera's still, right? It lets you're there to watch the actors act. And so that was a big part of it. And I mean our gaffer was fantastic, our lighting design, and I spent 3 months with our colorist. Shout out to Pete Kuhn at PKCV Media.
Nice.
I spent 3 months. He designed this color flow, right? Wow. And so you'll notice that every body has a signature tone, right? When they're the star of that scene, the color shifts just a little bit, and that color goes through every scene that they're
leading. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny because you watch this and you kind of, I kind of gave my, translation from it, but you're giving kind of the meat and potatoes and kind of how you do it, which is pretty cool. How happy were you with the way, obviously you do your cut and then you go into post? As a director, do you get involved with the editing, or are you more, hey, you know what, you guys got it, I want to pitch it? Give me this kind of like, hey, wrap, to post to release.
We had a fantastic editor.
Nice.
He's the same editor that we used on The Bastard Son.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna butcher his name, Nick Le. Like it's real French, and my uneducated tongue can't pronounce his name, so I just call him Nick L. We'll subtitle it or dub it or something like that. We'll figure it out. And I had seen what he did with The Bastard Sons.
Yeah.
And I trusted him.
That's amazing.
To cut this film.
Yeah.
So we had conversations before we even shot the movie on how I wanted it cut, like the feelings, the vibes for different scenes, and I let him. I know, like let seems like I gave him permission.
No, you know what I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Like, and we had this conversation. It was like, get weird with it. Like, I want you. This is your part of the process.
Yeah.
Right. So you cut it how you think it should be cut. And then, like, if I have a problem with it, then we'll go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
But, like, everybody in this movie is an artist. Yeah. Right? So, the lighting designer, right? An artist. So, you've got to let the artist do their art. The colorist is an artist. You've got to let them color. The editor, the score, right? You give them sort of baselines. Yeah. But you have to allow them to play. Yeah. Because maybe they come up with something that you wouldn't even thought of that makes the movie so much better. Yeah. You know? So, and even like down to the acting, like some of the acting choices, like you've got to let them do what you hired them to do. Yeah.
And then let them fly.
Let them play.
So, okay. So, movie gets released. It was released on April 5th. Mm-hmm. So, by the time this is out, we'll put the link below, which is pretty cool. And give us kind of the I don't want to give too much away, but the arc. How did you kind of Michael,
right?
St. Michael the city. Adams the actor. How did you kind of capture his arc?
How did we capture his arc? So the great thing about this movie is, we have Kevin's cuz, who's a wild card, right? And Michael, he is carrying so much, so many secrets, that, you had to, because, Adam's a very dynamic actor, right? Like, he's very, like, passionate and stuff like that. Yeah. But for this role, I wanted him to be burdened, right? And so that's how his arc sort of plays out. He comes in and he doesn't want to be there, right? He's drawn back home. Yeah. And he's just trying to keep it together. Yeah. And as the movie progresses, that pressure builds and builds and builds. And you see that in the performance because he's not as unhinged as Cuz is, but you can see him unraveling, right? Yeah. From the first shot to the last shot, he becomes a little bit more erratic, and that's a testament to Adam's acting, right? But yeah, that's the arc. Like, it was just a slow sort of disintegration of his soul.
Interesting. Yeah. So St. Michael in the City is now out on Amazon, Amazon Prime, and it's going to be released on some other platforms. I think it's like $3 to rent or $2 for SD. So affordably priced. You can also buy it as well. You can also get the DVD. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's pretty cool, actually.
I saw that, and that's pretty awesome. Like, I want everybody to buy or rent this through the streaming service. Don't get me wrong, but there's something about owning a physical DVD. Something that can never be taken away.
How about if anybody buys it in the Trenton area, maybe we'll sign it?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
That would be pretty sweet. Before we wrap up, give us kind of some of the other stuff you worked on, some of the stuff you're proud of, because obviously we wanted to, today was all about St. Michael, but for those that are still watching, either their family or they give a shit about you.
Right.
Either way, right?
Right.
Just kidding. But all joking aside, if people are interested in you if they're watching this far in, give us a little bit about yourself. What have you else have you worked on? And it's really important that you came here, Teddy. This was fun.
Yeah, this was a great time. So what aren't I working on? Okay, so I have a podcast myself.
Yes.
Called The Film Blurds. I co-host that with Brandon Norwood.
Awesome. You got to check that out, Julian.
And yeah, like we just talk about like two film nerds talking about film, right? And apparently people seem to like us, talking about film.
God bless.
Because we've gotten emails from Ridley Scott.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Ridley Scott sent us an email.
Like, hey, I checked out your pod.
Yeah, because like somehow our podcast got to the ASC, the American Society of Cinematographers, and they sort of passed it around, and then like we started getting emails from people and getting stuff, So yeah, people seem to like it. Beyond that, I am a working filmmaker. I do commercials, I do narrative films, I do short films, I do documentaries. So right now, I am writing my first action script.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that should be done hopefully within the next 2 or 3 months. I'm working on a documentary about a filmmaker who's neurodivergent.
What's that?
He's got autism.
Okay.
Right. So
I never heard it described that way.
Yeah.
Neurodivergent.
Yeah.
New big word.
See, you learn something new every day.
That's right.
I am going to be a producer on a Christmas film.
Oh, nice.
With my friend Devin Hampton, who's a great filmmaker and a real inspiration to me. What else am I working on? I teach filmmaking to grade school kids, to get them excited and to get them to like learn to look at the things that they're watching as more than just content and try to appreciate it as art.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. I've got some other things in the pipeline that I can't really talk about. Knock on wood.
God bless.
All right, but I like to stay busy.
Top 3 movies, cinematography wise, film wise, directing wise, that off the top of your head, that could be any genre. Top 3, go.
That's like asking me what my favorite breath of air is.
All right, how about this?
Right,
how about this? Gangster movies.
All right, gangster movies.
We're kind of that genre now.
I'm gonna say, I am a big fan of Heat.
Yeah. Old school.
I love Heat.
De Niro versus Pacino.
Like that last scene at the airport is beautiful. It's immaculate. So cinematography wise, Heat, and then I would say, even though it's not a very good movie, I like Black Mass. I like the way that was shot.
I hated that movie, but it was filmed well.
Right. And the most slept upon movie ever. No one really talks about this, and I think it's a travesty. Brooklyn's Finest. Antoine Fuqua, who directed Training Day, right? It's a cop drama, right? That stars Ethan Hawke, Richard Gere.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Like Don Cheadle,
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes, and it is gritty.
That's awesome.
It is gritty. But I appreciate some movies for cinematography. I appreciate others for acting, writing. It just depends.
Okay. Top 1 or 2 directors.
I am a Tarantino fanboy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know if we have time. I have a Tarantino story.
Let's go.
All right. So, Brandon and me, we went to a screening, critic screening for The Hateful Eight, right?
Okay.
Before it, hit wide release. And we're up in the balcony, yada, yada, yada. We see a whole bunch of reserved seats in the front, but that's fine. We
Yeah.
always see that.
Usually
because
that,
we have producers and stuff like that. And so we're BSing and stuff like that. And he nudges me, and I go like, what? And he points over here, and I see this tall blonde woman, right? Like with headphones on, looking aloof and stuff like that. And I'm like, we're in New York City, man. Like there's tall, pretty blondes are dime a dozen. And he goes, no, look. And I look harder, and it is Uma Thurman.
Whoa.
Right? And so we're just like, like we keep it chill. We don't say anything, but it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna watch a Quentin Tarantino movie with Uma Thurman. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Then she gets a phone call, and she's giving someone directions on where she's sitting. She turns her phone, and it says Quentin.
Oh man.
Right? And we're like, no. She sits down, lights come down. 10 minutes later, this bumbly, dude comes, right in front of us into the reserves, sits right next to Uma Thurman, plops down. It is Quentin Tarantino. So now I am watching a Quentin Tarantino movie with Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. So obviously we have to all the jokes, we have to laugh extra hard because it's Quentin Tarantino. Intermission comes up because, Hateful Eight, the Roadside show, they have the intermission. And he's talking to whoever else is around him, stuff like that. And he leans forward, and one of the reserve signs is stuck to his back. Right? And so, we can't let our boy be embarrassed like that. We can't let him, God forbid, he stands up, goes to the bathroom. He's got a reserve sign on his back. So my boy Brandon, he's taps on the shoulder, real soft. No response. Taps him again, and Quentin just turns around and goes, yes? And Brandon goes, you've got a sign, the reserve sign on your back. He grabs us oh, I'm lucky. Lucky didn't say kick me, huh? And we all guffawed and laughed at that corny ass joke.
Oh man.
But
it's Quentin Tarantino.
It's Quentin Tarantino. So Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorites, top. And I love Spielberg. Yeah. I'm Spielberg kind of inspired every honestly filmmaker my age. But also, I can't go without shouting out Spike Lee. Yeah. Because he's one of those rare filmmakers who is himself. Yeah. Always. And has made a career out of making his art his way. Yep. Right? And that's the dream. Everybody wants to be
Do the Right Thing was way ahead of its time.
To do the right thing, she's got to have it. Did you realize she's got to have it? Yeah. Those two people weren't even in the same room.
Really?
Yeah, those conversations, they weren't on set at the same time.
That's crazy.
Right? You will notice he just shot them in singles. Yeah. And that's indie filmmaking. That's.
That's cool. Well, listen, first plug the podcast. How can people find the podcast?
The Film Blurge, you can find it everywhere you listen to podcasts. There's nowhere you can go without hearing my smooth, silky voice.
We'll put a link. Is it audio only or is it video and audio?
It's audio only for now. We got to get our stuff together to do video.
You know the irony of that, right?
Yeah. No, right? Because if I'm gonna do video,
just pointing that out.
If I'm gonna do video, I want it to be
you're doing video.
I'm doing video.
Right? It's gonna.
Yeah.
A camera.
Well, yeah, exactly. We're gonna have a switcher.
Grip.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Okay. And then St. Michael the City. Check it out on Amazon. And then anybody wants to check out your socials, how can they find? Let's see Instagram.
Instagram is MindFireXL. So MindFire and then XL as an extra large.
Awesome. Oh, I know this is gonna be a fun one. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. This is a good time. I like this.